Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's session of It's the Pedagogy for Me. My name is Tamara Gibson. I am here to share my understanding and information regarding PBR 160 Competency 13, but it's something that affects all of us, and that is the ethical standards for educators. And so tonight we're going to spend time talking about some of the policies and some of the information that is necessary for us to remain compliant, to continue to be a trustworthy source for our community, and to continue to provide the best service that we can for our students, our children, ourselves. And if nothing else, to make certain that the years that we have put in as educators will remain solid because of our ethical practices. Okay, so again, this all of the information I'm going to share has a lot to do with PPR 160 Competency 13. And for the state of Texas, this talks about your legal and ethical responsibilities as an educator. As always, I'm grateful for you being able to join in as I chat with you about things that our educational world and field has to be concerned about. As always, giving you information regarding the test. We here at TT Innovative Solution provides the assistance and the support and the help in order to help you to pass your state certification exam. We have been afforded the opportunity to do it here in Texas because that's where we are home based and where we are. But we've had the pleasure of helping those that are in Indiana and Michigan, and would love to continue to help those that are all around our great nation. So let's get straight into it. The connections from the PPR 160 have to do with TAC, which is the Code of Ethics here in the state of Texas. We as educators have to understand and remember that we have professional interactions, that we need to make certain that as we have them, we are still helping to keep our students' information confidential. We have laws that have been placed, and these are just a few of the laws, but some of the very big ones that they'll possibly ask you on your state exam and that you need to remember and be reminded of. FERPA, IDEA, and Section 504. And we, as educators, are mandated reporters. We are our students. We provide our students with the safety that is needed, and also to be able to help them when there is some abuse or neglect regarding their records, their information, and them in particular. So I won't spend as much time on us being mandated reporters, so I'm going to say as much as I need to right here, right now. You cannot get around finding out information about your children. If you are the first source to be given that information, you are the first source that has to call. There are hotlines and information that I'm sure that your school district provides for you, and a simple Google will get you to where you need to go in order to share whatever it is that is pertinent to the student. Unfortunately and fortunately, I have experienced this. You cannot pass it on to someone else. If it is in your lap, it belongs to you, and you have to go forward and take care of it. So that kind of sums up a lot about who's responsible. We are. We have a legal responsibility according to the law to make certain that we are ethical in our conduct, that we provide and purvey trust to our community, to our school district, to our children, and follow the legal compliances of the laws that are instituted around educational providers. So FERPA is the first one that I want to go and tackle and talk about just a little bit. And it is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. It helps to protect the privacy of students' education records. It was enacted in 1974. It applies to all institutions, public institutions, that receive funding from the Departments of Education, K through 12, and even on to the post-secondary institution. As listed on the screen, there are things that protect our students that we're supposed to protect, being report cards and disciplinary records, but essentially is the right for our students to have access to their educational records without it being manipulated. They can request amendments. They have the right to consent or disclosure, and they have the right to file a complaint if there is something inaccurate on their records. Again, who's responsible? We are responsible for maintaining correct, accurate records, and then also not sharing those records in an inappropriate way. And as we go along, I'll say that in so many different ways because that is the truth. That's the meat of this conversation, and that's the meat of what we are responsible for doing. A teacher should not be sharing a student's grades with another parent, even if said parent begins the conversation. You are not supposed to be sharing information with your colleague that doesn't service that particular child. I'm not talking about principals and administrators that do have the right to have information for all of the students at the campus, but I am talking about just these casual conversations that sometimes do not protect the privacy and the integrity of our students' records. Then we get into IDEA and Section 504. It's the Individuals with Disability Education Act. This is a federal law, again, from the Department of Education that ensures that students with disabilities will receive a free and appropriate public education where in their least restricted environment. It is a committee, a body of people that come together to make sure that this is happening. And as listed on your screen, we need to know and follow these plans. We need to collaborate with those specialists that are involved and the families, making sure that things are accessible and equitable, okay? And then we go into Section 504, which I will note here and say it very clearly. It is not a special education program for the students. It does not provide that. But what it does here was the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. It's a civil rights law. It protects individuals with disabilities from discrimination. It helps to ensure that our students that might have physical or mental impairments to have equal access to education. So some of the things that I noticed when we're in 504 plans is that we have an allotment of ways that can make some accommodations for our students that have said disabilities or things that they're in need of in order to be successful. And this is a plan, okay? It's an equal access to education for our students' needs. And so we must enact, follow, put in the work for these plans. And what I say a lot to this is if the plan is not working, we need to come up with a different plan. Or we need to modify the plan that we have, okay? And I won't go too deep into ARDs and things of that nature. Again, we do an entire study course for those who are seeking to pass the special education exam 161. But again, we are sticking very narrowly today to PPR 160 and how the information applies for you to be of understanding, as well as you preparing for that information, giving you small bits for you to be able to kind of get to know these things and to understand how they play in your world. And then the fourth point that I have on the screen is that you document and you communicate, okay? The paperwork that is done for both of these are legal. They're legal paperwork that if ever called on or called out, there are things that could happen because we are not following and being in compliance. Not a tactic to try to scare you, but for you to be knowledgeable and understanding of things that you do can definitely affect your certification that you've worked so hard to acquire. And so we don't want to make moves that will, in essence, cause you lots of issues and embarrass you, your family, and the district that you're serving. And then one big one. I'm not going to say that I don't know of people that have done violations of the other things that I've talked about before, FERPA and IDEA and Section 504. But I have a deep understanding of how people misuse and abuse copyright and fair use law that we have. It's important to our educational system because we use massive amounts of material. And in order to protect the original works of book companies in the form of books, videos, music software, images as listed on your screen, we have to follow the rules, okay? And unfortunately, this is one of the ones that sometimes I see lots of people kind of ignoring or being in the what I would call gray area. If at all you're questioning some sort of practice and it's not certain of it or not sure of it, don't do it. That's my advice. Just don't do it. It's really not worth it. Following the rules and avoiding legal violations. You yourself, we are role models, whether we want to be or not. Our ethical behavior affects our community. You notice on the news a lot of times, if you've seen educators and teachers, there's a higher standard being placed on us. And I'm not going to talk too much about whether that's right or wrong or whatever. I'm just going to say we have to follow what we're saying we're going to follow when we get certified. Okay. So it's another way to protect schools and school districts from lawsuits. Said lawsuits takes lots of money out of a pool of money that we're already lacking for servicing our students. And then staying within your district policies, because oftentimes what's in the TAC is a general information, but your school district has a district policy that they want to be followed that talks about the ethical practices of the educators that service the school district. And so I have a pinpoint location here in Houston, where we are located, to talk about one said breach. So in 2019, HISD had to pay an award of $9.2 million to, I believe it was Dyna Study Incorporated, because there was a violation of copying their workbooks and teacher guides in order to disseminate and to be used, and it was without proper licensing. So to my educators that open the book and begin to copy, whether it's with a physical copy machine or with your phone or what have you, please follow the practices that are needed to be done after reading that information, or before reading, actually. Assume that there is a copyright and that you need to find out. Best practice, in my opinion, as being a digital learning specialist in a school district that has thousands of people, is to ask the author first and see if you can get the compliance that you need in order to do what you're trying to do. Again, I spoke more on this one because this is the one that I see personally and have seen personally done and misused and utilized in this way. And because we have a personal connection here in Houston because of the fact that this particular judgment went against HISD, because they know those said individuals, it wasn't even a whole district, but those said individuals took it upon themselves to do that. And they were knowingly violated the copyright laws for that particular business. So let's be careful in that area. Again, these are possible things that can be on the exam that you're going to take, but these are also things that you need to carry with you throughout your career. Because again, We are protecting our students. We are doing our best to continue to remain confidential in the dealings and the practices that we have with our students, our staff, our parents. We are making sure that we are bound to have professional interactions that that it doesn't matter. I can be recorded and no, nothing is going to become of it because I followed the parameters that I needed to follow. Okay. So in my closing, I guess I would say is there are some key things that I want you definitely to take away. And I want to relate it to the final 3 things that you see on your screen right now. Grading dilemmas, posting of students' grades, understanding that there's really a very, very fine line, social media boundaries, some of them being crossed. And then, sad to say, there are some times that we do have to report our peers' misconduct because it can be detrimental to the students and also to our community. So remain professional in your interactions. If you're talking about something or you're amongst people that are talking about things that should not be disclosed, remove yourself as well as talk to who needs to be talked to in order to disseminate that information. That sounds like you're the tattletale, right? But you have an ethical right, an ethical moral integrity to do certain things and to make sure that everything is taken care of in a proper manner. And you're not really protecting said colleague if they are knowingly, sometimes haphazardly, revealing information. In the last couple of weeks, I've heard some things that some educators have decided to do, and I just chalked it up as not very smart in the thoughts of think before you act. And then what type of issues that it's going to cause for them and their family. It is a horrible situation to be found on the side of guilty for these types of things, to have your license taken. But in life, we all make decisions. So again, my goal tonight was to make certain that I give you said information. Not necessarily to put my own personal spin on it, but to present to you what we are responsible for as educators. So again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to present this information to you, and thank you for watching. As always, we here at TT Innovative Solutions want to continue to provide educators with what you need in order to have a long-standing love of pedagogy and understanding of what compliance measurements and all of that you're supposed to be following. Our information is on your screen right now. Our channel is TT Innovates 553, and we can be found across many platforms as TT Innovates. Again, my name is Tamara Gibson. I'm the owner of TT Innovative Solutions, and I am grateful for this time spending with you. I hope that you learned something new that you weren't sure of, or that you would like to dive deeper into understanding the compliance measures, because we cannot say that we didn't know and that be awarded as okay. So, good night and have a wonderful evening. I'll see you again next Monday, same time, same station. Bye, everyone.